All right, what's up, stalemates? Back after Christmas, no days off, no weeks off. We're really being pretty consistent this year, and it's paying off. So I didn't want to miss a week. Tyler came back from, we're both from the same hometown for people that don't know that. So we both went to our hometown, which is 2 hours away, and had some good time with the family, yes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm definitely worn out after the weekend, but
You sound sicker than a dog.
yeah, I'm getting to the back end of a cold I had before that too, but
A cold.
I did the double test before I went out. I wasn't putting my grandparents at stake.
Cold people. All right. No, it's all good. I had COVID like 2 months ago or 3 months ago. I'm vaccinated. Yeah. You allegedly took a test. I don't believe you. But anyways, he's here. We also have a guest today, which we'll bring him on here in a second. Before we bring on the guest, though, shout out to Barbarian Apparel. These Christmas sweaters. Apparently, my mom got the entire family Stalemates Christmas sweaters.
They did. That's awesome.
Yeah, she got the whole family Stalemates Christmas sweaters. We're actually doing a 20% off discount. Let me check my text really quick. I hit up Josh and I said, hey, you want to get rid of the rest of these Christmas sweaters? He said he doesn't have that many left. That is a factual fact. He says he can mark them down 20% off. So if you go to barbarianapparel.com and check it out, links down below. You guys know the drill. Barbarian Apparel, they're the best in the business. I didn't even know this little wrestling mat thing was on there. But yeah, it's on there. There's a little wrestling guys or girls at the bottom. Merry Christmas, Stalemates. You know the vibes. We're in the holiday season. It's great. We're about to get into 2022. It's going to be another great year at the company.
Yep, yeah. That sweatshirt was pretty much all I wore over this whole past weekend, and it got lots of compliments.
Dude,
so
I wore just a Barbarian Apparel hoodie the entire, like literally for 3 days straight.
Yeah, I brought like the windbreaker and the vest, and then I just rotated between those three pieces the whole weekend pretty much.
Yeah, so this holiday season is brought to you by Barbarian Apparel, the best in the business. You guys also know SPYDER Matte Tape. It's a new sponsor that we've had. We're excited to have them on board. They are the official matte tape of Stalemate Street League, so scroll down, check it out. If you guys need matte tape this year, I'm not going to keep harping on it. You guys know it's the official matte tape of Stalemates and Stalemate Street League. So if you need matte tape for this upcoming season, check it out. It's always fresh, the best in the business. And then lastly, Above and Beyond Wash and Seal. You guys know if you're in the state of Iowa, it's the place to go if you need a new floor. We're currently sitting on Above and Beyond Wash and Seal floor. We're actually thinking about getting a new studio because we have this super annoying heater thing in here, and then there's homeless people all around, which is fine. They're nice to us, but it's sometimes we're here pretty late at night, so we're thinking about going to the other side of downtown where we have private parking, and it's just a little bit nicer of a studio. But this studio has been great. I feel like we've only been here, it's almost a year, but
yeah, I feel like we got what we wanted out of it.
Yeah.
So.
And lastly, we're brought to you by Fantasy Fight League. Why not? We got the CEO, the founder, the creator, Joe Kenya, in the building. He is formerly of a company that we won't talk about, and that's fine. He's got a new company now. He basically created the internet. Joe Kenya, ladies and gentlemen. Clap it up for him, Tyler.
Hey, man. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys having me on. It's cool.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about what's going on at Fantasy Fight League real quick before we get to these topics. He's going to be a guest host here today. We're going to talk about, 5 different topics. Is that what it is? 6? But we're going to talk about Fantasy Fight League at the end, and there's some drama that's going down, so we'll get to it. But tell us a little bit really fastly, like an elevator pitch on Fantasy Fight League.
Hey, man. So I see you always tweeting about how like different sports books don't want to take wrestling. It's difficult, and there's a lot of data that's required, right? So Fantasy Fight League, and it's daily fantasy for wrestling, $5 a month to play, top 10 win prizes every month. So there's no gambling. There's no odds. You go and you pay $5. You set teams for every event, and top 10 on the leaderboard every month wins a prize.
And it seems
like a cool way to keep people engaged.
It seems like lately there's been some heat going on. You got this Pit Panther dude. He's been at the top, and then somebody kind of called him out, and then next thing you know, he like took a week off really quick. So I don't know if that was some collusion going on. If you have somebody that is like, we'll talk about it later on in the show. But I definitely want to get to the bottom of it because Tyler's been actually like competing on it pretty hard.
I've been having fun with it.
He almost cracked the top 10 the other day.
I missed a crucial tournament.
I was messing around with him the other day, and I was like, Tyler, you're in the top 10. I've never seen the guy get his phone out faster. But he wasn't. He wasn't even close.
Dude, I'm 12 now.
You're 12th?
for this month.
Is that
So-
true, Joe?
I gotta go. I gotta check. But shoot, there are over 100 people that played this month. So,
Yeah, I
you
saw
know.
that.
That's good. We're keeping tabs. Don't think that we're not counting your success over there.
Shoot.
All right, we're gonna get straight into it here. All right. The first topic here is Midlands got canceled. I didn't really think this was gonna be something that was gonna be a thing this year. Obviously, COVID's still around, but at the same time, all these other sports haven't really done anything in terms. I mean, other sports have had like cancellations, but in terms of like fans and stuff like that, it's been full fans. A lot of times, they just if a player gets COVID, they kind of pull them out. But as far as going and canceling like an entire thing, it's pretty crazy, especially since we've had multiple pack duels,
Right.
sold out stuff, and it seems like we're going a little bit backwards here.
I feel like, though, with the school like Northwestern, something like that maybe could be expected. It's kind of like a Cornell in a way with how they approach COVID protocol and things like that, I feel like.
Yeah, Joe, were you surprised by this?
I was surprised to see him cancel it, but like we were talking about, that's a Northwestern event, right? That's not an independently run event. It's run by the school. So, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if, the wrestling hierarchy there pushed back again. I don't think anyone wanted to see it canceled, but it has to align with the school, right? Like if the school is shut down and they're not letting kids out or they're not letting kids come back after break, and then they have a huge, tournament on campus. So, was I surprised? I wasn't really surprised. Disappointed,
Yeah, I bet you were disappointed because that would have been a big game probably for you guys over there.
Yeah, shoot. Well, it would have been a big game. Now we just got to scramble and make a game for the new one.
Yeah. You are going to throw that in for the end of the month?
Yeah, so we were thinking the Powerade was going to be the final event of the month, but probably on Tuesday when we have more registrations, we're going to drop a game for this new Midlands event.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. So yeah, we just mentioned it there. So that one, the original Midlands gets canceled, and immediately there's two different tournaments getting put together here. So I don't know what time of day that it got canceled, but they canceled it, and then that night the Illinois Matmen, run by Izzy Martinez and Willie Saylor, actually put together basically the new Midlands, but it's going to be at the same place.
Yeah.
And the same, like, I think most of the teams are going to actually do it. I don't know exactly like the nuances of how it's different or not, but it seems like they just kind of stepped in and basically took Northwestern out of it. Tyler, can you scroll down and show some of the teams there? Yeah, you were on it there.
Oh, wait.
No, you were on it. You're on it. It's at the bottom. There you go. Yeah, so I mean, there's bangers in there.
Army. So it looks like from what we saw, Army's going to be doing 2 opens.
Yeah, they're really taking advantage of the anytime, any place, anywhere thing, which is it's just great. I mean, they're really not that far between the two of them.
Right.
So there's that, and then at the same time, they brought in the Hawkeye Open, which is the Iowa City's version of Midlands. So Iowa was supposed to go to Midlands, and essentially they aren't going to now, and they're going to do they're going to do the Hawkeye Open in Coralville. This is put on by I don't know exactly the company, but it's like Luke Eustace and Schomburger, something like that. But anyways, they're going to do it at that Extreme Arena there. It's a brand new facility. Tyler's got the teams pulled up there. Some absolute hammers in that one as well. Too.
Yeah. Life University will be there. That's kind of exciting.
Yeah, Grandview, I believe, is over there.
Oh, they have some guys there too at both.
Nice. But you guys know why we talk about this stuff. We don't talk about this stuff just to tell you about who's wrestling where and who's doing what. We talk about this stuff because there's actually drama involved. But the drama involved was, it ended up kind of being what's the word? A pissing match between the two of them in a way. Is that the right word?
I guess that'd be.
Joe, did you catch up on any of that stuff?
Yeah, I saw them going back and forth, and what we're seeing here is, I mean, broadcasting a wrestling tournament's not that difficult. And a lot of times we saw it with the journeyman duels, and I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but if I'm Iowa, why would I not throw my own event, make all the money for people who want to watch us? Like people who turn on Midlands, 50% of the people that sign up are signing up to watch Iowa. So the fact that, yeah, sure, they're each, it's Illinois Matmen and Hawkeye Wrestling Club on their channels. They want more schools to wrestle there. So ultimately, at the end of the day, I think it'll probably be a better deal for everyone involved. Right? Iowa's going to make a bunch of money. They're not going to have to travel.
What about for the
Everyone
fans?
that's, oh geez, for the fan. Well, that's a different story, right? For the fans,
Do you think
you
from a
don't
fan
have those
perspective and
matchups.
from a fan perspective, do you think it's good that there's two separate tournaments, or do you think it's two watered down tournaments? I mean, it looks like it's, to me so far from the entries, and we don't know exactly, everybody that's involved, and if some of these teams are just going to send a couple guys or not. But as far as the fan aspect goes, would you rather have one absolutely stacked tournament or two of these separate tournaments? They both do look to be pretty stacked in their own rights, but I'm sure some of these teams had to pick and choose what they're going to go, where they're going to go.
Yeah, so from a fan perspective, and even like I'm a marketing guy, so from a marketing perspective, having more teams and better teams at one event makes better quarters, semis, finals, right? Look at it as individual matchups and possibilities. So yeah, you take Iowa out of that equation, what some of those quarters and semis are going to be.
Yeah, and the Hawkeye Open people. Well, I don't even say Hawkeye Open people. So the Hawkeye Open is going to be streamed by I Wrestle, and one of their guys got in some deep water. Tyler, can you? So his name's Lars Onderbaki. I actually like Lars. I did ban him from Appaloosa County one time. He had one of our Centerville guys ranked second.
I
He was a
remember that.
three-time state champion. It ended up being a four-time state champion, but they had him ranked second all year. I was like, come on, you're not gonna rank. Anyways, I'm not gonna get into it. But we buried the hatchet. I've actually talked. We've met him before a couple times. Super nice guy. He did put out this questionable tweet. Tyler, can you pull it up? Go ahead and read it.
They are holding the event in Chicago in a warehouse now, or there's an event in a brand new state-of-the-art facility in Coralville. You versus the guy she told you not to worry about.
Yeah, I mean,
This isn't even the venue they ended up having, but
I think the Illinois Matman put out that picture. I mean, I'm sure that's just like one of the rooms.
right.
People were going pretty hard. People were going
It is a
pretty.
nice arena.
Yeah. I mean, when you put it like that, I think the whole thing though is like it was supposed to be more of a feel good story. Like something bad happens.
Right. Yeah.
We're trying to like salvage this
They
situation.
managed to do something about it. Yeah.
Right. And then he kind of dunked on him a little bit.
Yeah.
I did though think that I thought that he did take a little bit more flack than I thought was deserved. I almost
Really?
put a tweet out and defending him like, hey man, I don't agree with this tweet either, but Lars is a good person. I think there was some personal attacks in there.
Yeah.
Overall, Lars is a good dude. I think this was him kind of in his own world. And like I think
Right.
sometimes in wrestling we don't realize how small the world is, and so we don't think that people are gonna see it, or maybe we don't think that you're gonna offend somebody, this and that.
Uh-huh.
But it kind of showed that like there is like maybe a little bit of competition between these two tournaments, even though there shouldn't be.
Right. Yeah, and I can understand where like why his support would lay there. But
Well, he's part of IA Wrestle.
Yeah,
IA Wrestle
exactly.
is streaming this duel, but the funny thing is though is they're not like
it's not like a
it's not really in competition because
Right.
they're not on the same dates.
mm-hmm.
Obviously, they're close enough where the teams are probably gonna have to choose, except unless you're Army.
I think that's pretty much it.
But for the most part, it's not really gonna affect each other. The Illinois Matman is doing a pay-per-view. IA Wrestle is not doing a pay-per-view, which is interesting. Joe, what do you think of this whole pay-per-view thing with Rockfin?
I love it. I mean, when traditional college, let's use like an Ivy League school, let's use like Harvard. ESPN buys up all the broadcast rights for the Ivy League. So that means Harvard's going on ESPN, or like let's use Duke, right? The ACC. ESPN wants Duke basketball, they want football. That money doesn't make its way to the wrestling programs. So everyone who wrestled at this journeyman duel got a piece of that pay-per-view.
Right.
which I love. Right? It's not like ESPN's coming and saying, "Hey guys, here's your check for wrestling on our thing." Right?
They just pay up front.
So they left that. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying that ESPN, they just pay up front, right? They just pay them a
Yeah, they pay the school. Duke gets whatever $50 million,
right.
and then it gets disseminated that way, and some goes here and there. But that's why I like Hawkeye Open and this Madman thing, right? Stalemate Street League, right? All these new events that are coming up. It's good, right? It's good for people to have better control over their broadcast rights.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think it is important that we actually like decide exactly where the money goes instead of like just to a broader cause, right? Like instead of it going straight to the school, this is assuming this is going straight to the wrestling programs.
Right. Yeah.
Or their RTC affiliates. I don't know.
I think I noticed that the Hawkeye Open isn't like a pay-per-view.
It's
event.
not. No.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I wonder why Tony hasn't messed around with that yet.
Right. No, I think that's a good improvement of like features for Rockfin.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I would think too with the Hawkeye one is that all the money is coming into IA Wrestle, and then they're going to handle how they divvy it out, right? Part of how they were able to get all of those teams, and I'm just speculating, right? I don't know how they got all those teams to wrestle at the Journeyman is like, hey, let's all work together. Let's all promote this together. Let's all work together, make the event, gangbusters, and then they get a check at the end of the thing. So like the smaller events, need to give it to 30 people, you cut them a check, cut them $5,000.
Right. Somebody tweeted that, and this somebody is Jagger. Jagger tweeted that he wanted Mikey England at Midlands, and that got my wheels spinning a little bit. And I thought, which when I say Midlands people, I'm talking about the Matman Open. This got my wheels spinning a little bit, and I thought maybe it would be cool if I hit up Mikey first, and I said I wasn't going to put him on blast, but I told Mikey, I was like, listen, I will pay you X amount of dollars to win it, and I'll pay you, it was basically a certain amount of money, and then if you show up and just do it in general, I'll pay you half of that.
Right.
And he was like, I'm a wine bottle deep right now. I think I can make the semis.
Yeah.
But in my perspective is like, I'm kind of thinking about it. So if there was a wrestler out there that is listening to this, that is doing this tournament unattached, obviously you can't be tied to a program, right? But if you're doing this unattached, preferably post-collegiate, so we don't have to deal with who are those people called? Compliance.
Yeah.
But I thought it'd be cool if we had somebody go out there, because we still have a ton of stalemate singlets.
Right.
We'll drive the singlet to you and make sure that you get it in time.
Yeah, you will get it before the tournament.
We'll do coverage and everything. I don't know. It's a good idea. I think it's a good idea.
I think it'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get another street league athlete out there. We had Chandler Rogers one.
Yeah.
Then all of our street league athletes, and then we get this guy.
Yeah, exactly. And we can document it all for you. It'd be a fun experience.
Yeah. I thought about it. Just a good idea. Jagger, that was a great tweet, by the way. Made my family's Christmas.
They were all retweeting it immediately.
I sent it to Mikey
good love
too
before. Yeah, it did. That is pretty good.
He was thinking about it. He's got a fight though in February. He's actually fighting in front of Dana White.
Another important one coming up for him too. So.
Yeah, that's a huge opportunity for him. He's fighting on that show, looking for a fight in Kansas City, which will be on the UFC's YouTube, I think, and probably Fight Pass and all that. Let's get into the next topic here. It's actually still Midlands related. Pat Downey III, you guys know him for sure. Every time that we talk about him, people say, quit talking about this clown, but I'm sorry, I can't get enough Pat Downey. It's a roller coaster of a ride. I think people are waiting for him to call it quits and move on to his MMA career or whatever he plans on doing next, whether that's OnlyFans, whether that's jiu-jitsu. It seems to me like the jiu-jitsu world is kind of embracing him a little bit. I don't pay attention too closely. I have tried to watch a couple of his grappling matches. Is that what it's called? And I just straight up don't understand the rule set. I'm open to learning about it. But anyways, Pat Downey, we haven't seen him wrestle Folkstyle since college. I'm assuming that it's going to be interesting ride. It's going to be an interesting ride watching him at this Midlands thing if he actually shows up. He did post this. Can you pull it up? It's an Instagram post.
Okay, just a second.
Yeah, it's an Instagram post of him alluding to the fact that he is wrestling this weekend. He also tweeted at Willie Sailor and said, "Text me back," which I'm sure if you've ever texted Willie, you know that he's notoriously bad at responding to people. But I tried to pull up online on Track Wrestling the actual individual wrestlers that are registered for the new Midlands, and I didn't see him. But I don't think that's it. Is that it? What is that? What's that say?
Sunday Fun Day.
No, that's not it. It's an Instagram post. It's a meme that he posted.
Oh, okay.
I did send it to the docket there. If it's from the wrestling room, there it is. All right, so pull it up on the screen there so we can all see it. Can you read the caption there?
He said, USA Wrestling and Flow Wrestling and every other hater that tried to cancel me when they see me competing this week. And then he like tagged a bunch of people, Willie, Izzy, hashtag Chi-Town, hashtag ain't no Midlands 8th.
Yeah. All right, just 1 second
Yeah.
here. Let me say something real quick. You notice how he didn't say us.
Right.
Does that clear us of him saying that we were lying about him not showing up for our event?
Does that include us, you think? I don't know.
He didn't tag us,
No.
so
See,
we never
that's
tried
true.
to cancel him. So I
Right.
think that shows an element of clearing our name of us lying. Not that I don't think people believe that we lied about him
I
not
don't
showing
really-
up, but
yeah. I don't think he really ever had much to say about it either. So I think that one was kind of just left out of.
I just wanted noted that he didn't include our name on
Right.
that thing.
Yeah.
Joe, what about you? You think he's gonna show up?
Do I think he's going to show up? 70% chance.
You think that's part of the fun or what?
Yeah, I think, it's funny. Wrestling, so I've worked in wrestling and jiu-jitsu and football and a bunch of sports. Wrestling is still very much like the old boys club.
Yes.
Like that's why we see the jiu-jitsu community embracing Pat more than he's kind of a villain.
Right.
He's a little bit of a villain for some people, and some people he's like they want to cheer for him. They want to see him do well, So I think in general, every good story has an antagonist, right? So if Pat can get his stuff together, get his life together, get back on the wrestling mat, I think it's good for everyone, right? People want to watch him wrestle. You saw people, about your event. People want to watch him wrestle, but my take here is I think you probably need some help, but you got to help yourself first.
Yes.
You gave him an opportunity. I know people giving him opportunities. He's a great athlete. He's a great wrestler. He's exciting. I like the persona, but at the same time, you got to show up. Football players act like that. MMA players act, but they show. They're there on game day. So I'm hoping he's there. I think he'll be there if he says it. But the chance he won't be.
I mean, full disclosure, I 100% thought he was going to be there when we had him.
Yeah.
Like even the day before, I'm like checking like literally dead silence from him, and I thought for sure, like even still, I'm like, this is part of the game, and it didn't happen, but I still thought he might.
Yeah.
Just because of how much he kind of sells it. And this could be another one of his things where he's just trying to get his name back out there.
Buzz.
We're talking about him here.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. I mean, I feel
so
like
I've got a Downey story. We had Downey at Who's Number One against Nick Rodriguez. I'll give Downey some props here. I called him on like a Tuesday. I just got back from ADCC, which is like the Olympics of Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh yeah.
And there's this dude, Nick Rodriguez, who was a wrestler. He was from Jersey. It was fun to watch, and he had kind of a breakout performance. I called Pat up on Tuesday, and at this time I'm overseeing marketing for wrestling and grappling, so I'm trying to incorporate the two of them. I'm like, hey Pat, you want to come and you want to wrestle Nicky Rod on Saturday? It's like Tuesday. And he said, give me X. And I was like, I can give you Y. And he was like, all right, cool. I sent him a plane ticket. So on Tuesday's notice, he got up, he came out, he did everything he needed to do. He did change his flight and charge the company card the next morning without telling anyone.
How much was it?
So it was like $300 or something. It wasn't my money, so I was just like, whatever.
Yeah, there was a couple times where like it was kind of one of those situations where I was gonna have to pay. We were gonna have to pay for some of his travel, and I was like, you pay it, and then I will reimburse you, because I just did not trust that. I don't know. I hope from the entertainment standpoint, it'll give us something else to talk about after that week. I hope he's there. And again, people, this isn't me like cheering for him. I just hope he shows up because it's good content.
Yeah.
I think that's all right to say.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it'd be fun to see him wrestling collegiately again. Like he doesn't have to wrestle freestyle against world team members or anything like that, but at least like keep your name out there at opens. Something like this would probably be perfect. But at this point, I don't have a whole lot of faith in him anymore.
I wonder what singlet he's going to wear. We never did send him a singlet or anything.
He just doesn't say anything. He just shows up in the Stalemate Street League singlet. Yeah.
Every time I think about Pat Downey singlets, I think of him selling them off and that one kid wearing it at that tournament.
That could have easily been us.
Yeah, for real. All right, we're going to move on here. Our buddy Corby got roasted. He got roasted. He was the commentator for the collegiate duels down there in Florida. And a lady that was a North Carolina State fan, I don't even think she was a part of the team or nothing like that. Matter of fact, I'm 90% sure she's not. I think she's just a super fan for the North Carolina State.
Yeah.
What is it, the Wolfpack?
Yeah, I think so.
She was there, and I'll give her credit for that. She was there, and she put out this tweet. Can you pull it up? Is it ready to roll here?
Yep.
Do you want to read that?
I just said that was trying.
All right, restart.
Just said
that was terrible. That was an awful.
I just said that I was trying to do better and not tweet mean things anymore. But let me tell you one thing. I've gotten so many texts today about how awful the commentary was at these duels, to the point people had to mute it, which is bad enough when the sweetest kid you have. This is getting way too small. Is bad enough, but when the sweetest kid you have tells you that they were so bad during his match that it pissed him off. If I go listen to that before I leave Florida, those clowns are going to see a shade of red they never knew existed.
Yeah,
that's a
so
lot.
I talked to Corby. I called him the other day. I was driving home, and I was like, "What's the deal? What match was that?" I don't know exactly what match it was, but I'm also sure that it was the Trumbull match, if I can remember. But Corby had a problem with his game on top. He said he wasn't a good leg rider, and I think I haven't went back and listened to what he actually said, but I do know that the coaches down there didn't have a problem with it, and he had went up to him and I believe talked to them. Corby's the type to like just straight up go to you and say, and he's gonna make it right. Corby's a good person through and through.
Yeah,
I mean, he flew out here and helped us with Street League for no money the first time. Just straight up came out and helped from sun up to sundown. Didn't ask for nothing in return, and he's just a good person, right? So he talked to the North Carolina State coaches, talked to him a little bit about it. They said they didn't have a problem with it, and he said they've been there before. These coaches they've heard criticism before multiple times, right? And I don't even know how hard Corby really went at him. But I do know that Corby went up to this lady, found this lady at the arena and talked to her. And Corby, the way that he put it was like, I think she was caught off. She wasn't expecting it. I bet
she was shook.
Yeah. And, Corby's polite. He wouldn't never go up to her and threaten her or nothing like that. But just kind of be like, aggressive. Hey, what was it that you had an issue with? Let me know. And they talked it out,
Wow. See, that's crazy. I didn't even think about that. He could literally just walk around and probably find her there.
Yeah, she was there. And
as
the craziest thing is she wasn't even listening to it because she was there. So somebody had texted her and basically complained about the whole thing. And she put the text messages on her Twitter as well. So you can go find those. But I don't think that she expected to get this sort of feedback at it, and I don't think she even knows Corby. She actually didn't even say Corby's name. She could have been talking about Fretwell for all we know.
Right.
But it seemed that Corby kind of wore it on his chest a little bit. For people that don't know, Corby's first ever time calling a match was Stalemate Street League 1. Yeah. And for the people that also don't know, Stalemate Street League 1 was in August.
Yeah, and then he's done
7 events.
7, yeah.
Collegiate Duels is the biggest event that's happened in wrestling so far this season.
Definitely. Yeah.
And I don't know in terms of eyes, but in terms of the number of teams that were there, Penn State, Iowa, all these huge teams are there. He had to call duels from sun up to sundown for 2 days straight as your 7th event ever. That's insane.
Right. A 12-hour shift.
And I don't think people really realize that. People don't realize how hard it is to call commentary. First of all, I didn't realize how hard it was. Sometimes because I've been asked to do it a couple times and I'm just not ready to do it. I do want to do it at some point. Not consistently, but every once in a while, right? and it's freaking hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
being able to talk about it over and over, not be too fast, not be too slow,
Mm-hmm.
dead air, all that stuff. You want, and he was by himself, so it's
Right.
extremely hard. People don't realize it. Um, and Corby's a good person. This is just kind of one of those things that maybe pump the brakes on the criticism a little bit when you don't know all the facts, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, eventually, no matter what, you're gonna run into somebody who's not gonna like the way you do something too.
Right.
So.
And I told Corby that too. I feel like commentary is one of those things. It's also like uniforms in sports. If somebody releases a new uniform, half the people are going to love it, half the people are going to like. You're never going to have 100% satisfaction no matter
Right.
what uniform color it is.
Yeah.
Commentators are the same thing. I know people that love Joe Buck. I know people that hate Joe Buck. When you say that's right, Joe?
Yeah, for sure. And this is kind of a double-edged sword, right? One is that, like you said, people don't realize how hard it is to do that. When you're by yourself, you don't have anyone to bounce something off. And what happened here is someone heard something about their kid and they took it personally, right? I don't know any community like wrestling that like everyone wants bulletin board material. Oh, the commenter said this kind of stuff. It's like, you're there for on air for 10 hours straight. Okay, fine. I would say, maybe not everything is bulletin board material and maybe not everyone's, but on the flip side, like if I'm Corby, I don't know, I just shake it off, man,
Yeah.
because people, I don't know, being behind big brand accounts, a lot of times, like when I'll engage with negative feedback, it's one, if I'm addressing it, or like I don't like to defend myself. I like to have fun, or I like to just kind of ignore it, right? Because like if someone really started trashing you guys and you quote tweeted them, or even Fantasy Fight League or anything, and I quote tweeted them and kind of like either we're having fun or let's not amplify a message that a negative message,
Right.
right? Like we wouldn't if he hadn't responded and we wouldn't even be talking about it, right? It'd just
Correct.
be a tweet out into nowhere. So
I
I'd say
agree with you.
90% of the time,
I agree with you. There's some
not
stuff that if I don't really want to like talk about it in front of everybody and I get some sort of hate message or YouTube comment or whatever, I won't address it just because if I did address it, it 100% is going to get blown up to where it shouldn't.
Yeah.
But there's some times that I get a negative comment and it's something that I already want to address. And then I use that opportunity to talk about that subject. Right.
Right.
But this is something where Corby also, it's like, and I told him this too. It's like, dude, you're gonna get this. If you want to keep commentating, and he does, you're gonna get this kind of. I just knocked this thing off, but you're gonna get this kind of bad feedback. He told me that there's a complete thread on the Hawkeye Report. It's like 53. Or something like that. It's like in the 50s or 60 posts long. And I told him too. I said you haven't made it until you've made it on the Hawkeye Report. And so the fact that he's only done his 7th one ever, and he's already get a 50 to 60 post thread on the Hawkeye Report just tells me that he's doing the right thing. And I actually kind of want to have him and Fretwell do Street League 3. I think that would be a good combination. The first one, the fact that we had Corby and Nate Carr side by side, and Ryan Warner was that's a dream team for me. And we're always looking for new ways to kind of switch it up a little bit. But for those of you who don't know, Joe here, he ran a major social media account. I don't know if we can say can we say the name of the company, Joe?
if you want to, that's fine.
Well, most of the people that are watching this know, but did you guys deal with a lot of like, I mean, a lot of times it probably wasn't about you personally because you were kind of behind the scenes and people might not have known who you were, but like, did you guys deal with a lot of stuff like that? And what was their philosophy just like ignore it?
So my philosophy was have fun with it, right? Particularly, so a big focus of mine was Instagram. I took that Instagram account over with like 10,000 followers and left it with about 500,000. So negative criticism, if someone's being nasty and they don't have anything, if the stream is down or whatever, ignore it, right? Because when you respond to them, you're amplifying that negative message to your whole audience. If
Mm-hmm.
you reply or you quote tweet them. So, my philosophy generally was either have fun with it or leave it alone,
Right. I think that's a good
right?
philosophy to have.
That was not a shared philosophy across the board.
Yeah, you
That
found that
was
out too,
the
huh?
shared philosophy was generally ignore it and pretend like it's not happening. And then, when you do that, it's kind of like you're in a boxing match and you're just like stepping back and you're stepping back, right? You could very easily give an answer to something and people be like, "Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we know the stream is down, sorry, we're working on it," or, whatever. But like when you ignore things, then that's when people start put your hands down, you start backing up, and people start teeing off at you.
Yep. I don't know. I think there's different ways to approach it, and um, at the end of the day, Corby's gonna get better and better, and people are still gonna say stuff. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right, the next topic here. I'm excited to talk about this one, and I'm sure that Joe is too, because Joe and I have had phone calls before, long, extensive conversations about the platform Twitch, and I think Spencer Lee is 100% doing something special. And when I say what I'm about to say, I'm not saying it to knock anybody's platform or anything like that, because I think there's different routes for many different people. But Spencer Lee is smart for two reasons for doing this. Let me tell the people what he's doing first. He's streaming himself playing Pokemon on Twitch. And he's done 3 or 4 now. And I know it's Christmas break time, but he's going to find time, I'm sure, to hop on the stream once in a while, because you got to be consistent. I see a lot of times when wrestlers kind of start these little media projects, they're not consistent. They do it a lot in the beginning. The numbers are going to suck in the beginning. I don't care who you are, but they're going to, unless you're some massive celebrity, right? It takes a long time for you to build an audience. So a lot of these people, when they start them, their numbers aren't that great, and then they kind of, it's discouraging. We've been there before, and then eventually you just kind of like stop being consistent, right? So Spencer's got to be consistent. But right off the bat, Spencer Lee is streaming himself playing Pokemon. I think he did an anime stream or something like that. 2 worlds I don't know a ton about. Played Pokemon a lot as a kid. Haven't played it since. And he's using the platform Twitch, which if you guys don't know, it's a way for creators to broadcast themselves anytime they want. It's a free platform to use, and they can get gifted donations. There's a community on the side. A lot of times it's linked with different Discords. So we're getting into some real nerdy tech talk here, but it's basically a free community that Spencer Lee can build around himself, right? Yeah. And I think that it's genius. And I believe that it's genius because he's one of the first people in wrestling to put out his content for free, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, right? There's Rockfin, right? But there's a $9.99 paywall. Well, it's really hard to build an audience behind a paywall, in my opinion. And for anybody that's going to give me flack about saying that, all those creators over there, for the most part, started off for free, built their audience, and then put it behind a paywall. Similar to us, we started off for free, and we still are free. We're still 95% free. But for anybody that wants that over-the-top stuff, you can subscribe to our Patreon for $3.99 and get that bonus content. Yeah. Spencer Lee is putting out all of his stuff for free, right? He's not trying to get their dollars up front. He's putting out for free. He's getting 80 to 90 concurrent viewers at one time. And, down the road, he can use this community. If he builds this community up that he built for free, then later on he can hit him with an ask, whether that's merchandise, whether that's a camp, whether that's something. It could have nothing to do with wrestling. Yeah. He's streaming Pokemon and anime and stuff like that, right? And to get 80 to 90 concurrent viewers from the jump, that's a huge step in the very beginning. Right. And I've been thinking about this for a while now. And this isn't, I'm not trying to discourage people from going to Rockfin or doing a Patreon or doing anything like that. But sometimes you guys step back a little bit and say, what's the best move for me? And at the beginning, you should do it for free. You shouldn't expect to get paid in the beginning until you've kind of earned that audience, right? Just because you're good at wrestling and this and that doesn't mean that, you deserve people's money. If you're going to do content, now, I'm not talking about getting paid to wrestle. I'm talking about doing content and making money from content, because that's essentially what he's doing here. And he could be just doing it for fun, but that doesn't matter, right? He's putting his stuff out there for free in the beginning, and then later on, if he wants to monetize, he can monetize. He can also sell ads on there. I mean, it's genius.
Yeah.
It's all about building your audience first and then asking for money later.
Right.
Joe, are you correct? I really want to hear your opinion on this, because you and I have talked about athletes and other companies and even ourselves using Twitch as opposed to something behind a paywall. And this isn't a knock to anybody else. I think Rockfin and all those other platforms make a whole lot of sense for IA Wrestle, for Matt Scouts, for anybody those companies have built their audiences already, and they're doing something completely different than what Spencer Lee's doing. Do you like that Spencer Lee is using Twitch?
Yeah, I mean, I love what Spencer's doing for a couple reasons. One, I just think it's cool how authentic it is. You know, wrestling is generally like kind of a tough guy type of sport, and Spencer Lee's definitely a tough guy. But playing video games on Twitch, that's really authentic. So I think he's just cool doing it, for that angle. What I love about Twitch, so I worked briefly for about a year for a company called Fan Controlled Football, and it had a lot of like tech integration. You could pick the plays, and they streamed it on Twitch. What Twitch can do is so you talk about these 80 to 90 concurrents, which for a wrestling event is massive.
Correct.
Right? There were some early Final X sessions that played for free on YouTube and Facebook that didn't pull that many concurrents. So people who don't know like broadcast viewership data, like that's a lot, almost 100 people watching at one time. What's cool about Twitch is you can hit play ad and you run an ad to everyone who's watching it right there. And you get charged, I don't know, whatever, say it's 10 cents. You have 80 people watching, say, oh, okay, my concurrents are peaking. Boop, you push a button and it serves ads to everyone that's watching right there. So you talk about like paywall and building your platform, which I 100% agree with, right? I've got a Garden State Wrestling banner hanging on for my, New Jersey wrestling blog I used to do. But what's cool about Twitch is interactivity. You got a chat along the side, so like you're talking with him, you kind of feel like you're there. If he wanted to run an ad, you just hit the play ad button and you get paid based on everyone that's watching. And it's something different, right? Blogs and articles and vlogs and travel and wrestling is fun, but at the end of the day, I want more storylines, right? I want people to feel more connected to the athletes to make it more interesting. And I think it's cool that, he's doing something kind of different.
Yeah, I wanted to get your opinion on that because I know that we've talked about it before, and it's interesting to see where he's going to go from this. I don't know how much the video game even matters for him either. You know what I mean? Like he could play whatever he wants, and the fact that he's playing Pokemon, which is essentially kind of what he's built his brand around. He walked out to that theme song and this and that. But it's entertaining, and another thing that's interesting is he does a Q&A at the beginning. So Spencer doesn't do a ton of interviews. And a lot of times when he does interviews, it's the same questions over and over. And so this community that he's built, sometimes these questions are a little bit raunchier, and he seems to answer like anything. I even sent him a question and he answered it. I asked him just a pretty generic question. I don't even remember what it was. Oh, I asked him who his favorite streamer was. But he's able to kind of live in his own world and do his own thing. And, I'm really excited to see what he's doing with it. And I'm really curious to see like who else is going to do it. I know Jaden Ironman's done a Twitch stream once too. And, I don't know. I think it's smart.
Definitely. Did Roman Bravo Young do it too?
I don't know if he did. If he did, he didn't do it consistently.
Maybe seems like someone who would have a presence on that. But doesn't Spencer Lee already have the connection to Nick Merckx too?
Nick Merckx tweeted Twitch? At him once. Yeah. Okay. But see, there you go. Like if Nick Merckx hops in one of his streams and does something with him, like huge. Yeah. And I'm sure that's already been something that's been discussed.
Right. Yeah.
Anyways, let's move on here. We're kind of running out of time here. Kyle Klingman gets roasted. He put out this article. Joe, did you see it?
Yeah, I saw the article.
All right, so we won't read the article or nothing crazy like that. He basically put out this article. Tyler's going to pull it up, just the tweet. I don't think we're going to click the actual thing.
No.
And it's saying that college folk style is harder than freestyle. Correct, Joe? Is that right? Joe, is that correct?
Yeah, that's what I took from that.
Okay, and he basically, and go back to that. Can you read that, Tyler?
Yeah, the folk style versus freestyle debate will rage on. but college wrestling continues to prove that it's the tougher of the two styles.
It's tough. And he basically used different examples. He used Carter Young, who had freestyle success, but he's already lost this year. He used Braxton Amos, who had high-level freestyle success, but he's lost this year. He used Cassiope, had big success, but he lost this year. It's kind of comical because, yes, in the sense that he's saying, right, it does – I'm not going to say it makes sense, but it's like you picked and choose these other things, but there's other – scenarios where it's the opposite, right? Let me see if I can find it. Somebody had a good somebody had a good tweet comparing it the other way. But the point is, you can take any sort of example and make it look like, you know what I mean? Like you could take
Right.
Let me see, I found it. Hold on a second. I don't know if I'm gonna find it. But you could take anybody, right? You could take somebody who had more success in folk style but didn't pan out in freestyle, right? You could probably take more. There's probably more examples of that than the other one. When you say, Joe?
Yeah, and it's so difficult to compare just because of the way the college season is, right? Like the fact that you have to weigh in twice a week and wrestle 35 matches in 3 months, like
that is hard.
It's hard to compare.
Right. I agree with you there. And there's other elements of like, actual schoolwork, correct?
Yeah,
and other things. One thing that I found interesting is Kyle Klingman to me has always been a very, very non-controversial wrestling figure. And when you start to work for that company, there's a lot of haters surrounding that company because just like anything, there's more eyes, there's going to be more people, more problems, more perspectives. And it's funny to me because Kleeman came from track wrestling and essentially, they got bought out by Flow. So then he becomes a Flow employee. And I felt like that was the first taste of like, hey, if you work for the Beast, you're going to get people like this. And you kind of got to be more careful of what you say.
Yeah. You're going to have to think about what you do a little bit more with more eyes on you.
Yeah, and I like Klingman too. I think
people are not happy.
He's one of the most he's like Jason Bryant in a way that he's like a historian of the sport, great storyteller. He's always been good to us. This isn't me knocking what he said. I don't agree with his argument, but I am a folk style fan over freestyle, and I'm a college wrestling folk style fan over anything.
Yeah.
So I like where he's coming from. It was just the wrong argument. Do you agree, Joe?
And I'm kind of on the other end, right? I like freestyle and I like international wrestling more than I like folk style and college wrestling because growing up in New Jersey, we didn't really have a team, right? Like Rutgers was literally almost about to cancel their program when I was in high school. So we didn't watch a lot of college wrestling. So, I mean, it's almost like going to an international tournament is almost like going to Fargo for an adult. Right? You go to Fargo and it's like, oh, here's someone from Illinois and Maine and whatever, right? And it's so cool to go to one of these international tournaments and the styles are different. And we talk about like tough. I mean, freestyle, you could wrestle how many times the size of I wrestle in a year, right? It's not as hard. If you're like just a freestyle guy, it's not as hard on your body. You can wrestle for a long time. It's exciting. Like I'm talking in circles, but think about like the World Cup for soccer, right? Like when it comes around, people have a reason to care.
Less is more.
In college, if you don't have an affiliation, if you're like me growing up in New Jersey, you don't have a college team, international wrestling, everyone has a team that they can root for and it kind of brings everyone together. And I don't know. But to say it's harder or more difficult, to use those examples, and Kyle's a good dude, right? I've never had anything but good experiences with Kyle.
Let me say this. Let me say this about Kyle. I bet he got the page views that he wanted.
Yeah.
I don't think that was intentional, but I bet he got the page views. When you say, Joe?
Yeah, and I think that might be like an unintentional.
Correct. But that's where
sure he didn't expect that to happen.
But that's where my brain goes. Is like, I bet he got the page views. I don't think Kyle did that intentionally. That's not really the kind of guy that Kyle seems to be. I don't really know him like that. I've had very minimal conversations with them, but that's where my head would go.
It's good too, just to get people talking, right? Who
Yes.
cares who's right and who's wrong?
Right.
Uh, it's a cool topic, right? And people are kind of in staunch defense one way or the other. I could see where he's coming from. Uh, we've seen plenty. I mean, we've seen people that are age level world champs that don't even all American. That happens, But other countries, something we got to think about too, as we use Carter Young and we use Cassiope. If you're a stud in Iran and you're 20, you're wrestling seniors. If you're, a stud from Russia and you're whatever, 19, you're wrestling seniors. Not that different countries don't send their best team. Like Iran traditionally sends really strong age level teams, but that's not a fit. U23s. We see people that place and win U20 don't even all American, which is an indication of the style. I think it's
We break it down a little bit more,
I
huh?
don't even know.
All right, let's talk about Fantasy Fight League, our last topic here. That's why we had Joe on. And you pay a month. Let me explain it first to the people. And Joe, you stop me if I get it wrong. You pay a monthly fee, which is $5 a month.
Yep, $5 a month.
And Joe and the team and the company, they go and they put up these games every week. And the idea is you want to play as many games as possible because that gives you more opportunities to score points, correct?
Yeah. So every Monday, generally, we like to post the week's games. The events usually happen on the weekend, so you have all week to make your picks. And if it's like a dual meet, something that we do that I think is kind of unique, you have to pick 5 starters for a dual meet. They get scored basically like team scores. We flipped techs and pins. So techs are worth the most, pins, majors, decisions. You even get points if you lose. You get the fewest if you get teched, and it works on a scale like that. But you'll go through for a duel, and you got to pick 5 starters. Starter 1 is a group of 4 people who are all projected to get bonus points. Starter 2, maybe decisions or majors. Starter 3, you got to pick someone who's in a toss-up. Starter 4, you got to pick someone who's an underdog, and starter 5, you got to pick someone who's a big underdog. So what that does is it eliminates like a traditional pick'em aspect where you could just pick every favorite.
Right.
You kind of have some, have to have some strategy.
Yeah. And there's a guy at the top named Pit Panther. And I can't remember if it was Pelican Head called it out or somebody called it out. And they're essentially like, is this an inside job? Because he wins every week. Is that right?
Yeah, so he's number 1 on the leaderboard for the month right now. He didn't win last week, but he has been playing. Yeah, so if we pull it up, he's at the top for the month.
Where's Tyler?
What
at?
we're going to see and what I hope to see is people develop strategy the more they play, right? The people that are at the top have been playing for a long time, and they have a good cadence of when to pick their picks, how to, divvy up who's going to be their favorite, and also playing all the games, right? Coming back to the site, checking, making sure we send emails every time their games are up. It's linear, right? It's not gambling. It's not a spread. There are no odds. You play the games, you have the best team. Most games you play with the best teams wins.
And how has the reaction from the players been?
I think people are enjoying it, and also who's going to be like, oh, this sucks, I don't like it to me. But I think it's fun, So part of an issue that I've tried to address here, FanDuel, DraftKings, when they run their games, how I would, their scores are populated from automated data APIs. So for like not technology people, there's some company that keeps score for all NFL games. DraftKings pays a fee to license that. I'm even getting complicated for myself. And that's how it pipes in. Wrestling in general, there's no one with a central data API. So if we want to see wrestling on DraftKings or FanDuel or any kind of daily fantasy, what they have to do, we see it for the Olympics and NCAAs, because they'll do one-offs and they'll do them manually. we're never going to be able to see all of these duels being done at once because there's no data API. So, as I was kind of creating this, I wanted to find a way to be able to sidestep. So we have, and this is more for technology people, but we have a good back end system where data entry is pretty simple and we can do it. It's pretty cost effective. So, it's only $5. I wanted to keep it cheap. I experimented with maybe doing it for 99 cents. So we want to, my angle too is I want it to be fun, right? Like, I don't want people to lose their rent money or to have a negative experience. I want it to be like you pay $5 and it's fun to play. And if I win one of the prizes, then great, that's a bonus.
Yeah, I think it feels like recently, and I've been talking to you from the beginning pretty much, but I feel like recently, at least in the Twitter sphere, it's been kind of getting more competitive and people want to crack the top 10 and people are really, there's kind of more banter involved. Do you feel that the same?
Yeah, and it's hard to build something from scratch, right? Getting momentum. We don't even have 1,000 followers. I hope we get 1,000 followers on Twitter. Man, it was hard. It was hard to get it moving from nothing, and it's hard to explain, right? There's a level of explain that needs to happen here. This is how you play. This is how the rules work. This is, So I'm trying to take it, long term, big picture, but and more prizes too, right? Like something that I'm excited about is this isn't to make like I'm not making money here at this point. When we get more subscribers and we have more annual revenue, we get cooler prizes.
Yep. I feel like it's getting to that point too where people are, they're talking about it, they're getting excited, and I hope you really keep building it because, like you said, it's super hard in the beginning, and I feel like just getting people familiar with it. Even gambling, a lot of people don't know how odds work. They don't know what plus 150 means. They don't know what minus 350 means. They don't know what over unders means. Like, I see it all the time. People try to talk gambling on Twitter, and I'm like, that's not even what that means. Like, you don't even like, oh, what's the over under on this? I'm like, okay, well, you still don't understand what it means. And so I feel like kind of educating people is going to be a big part of it. Also, have you ever had any sort of athlete be like, yo, I'm not the underdog? Has anybody ever got mad at you at a line that you set? And I don't know if you call these lines or groupings, but has anybody ever got mad at you for not, making them higher up on the totem pole?
Now, I haven't heard that from anyone yet, but the thing is their points get calculated based off of how they actually do.
So you can't even, they can't
So
even say nothing.
nah, they got if they were like, oh, I didn't. It's like, well, you get. I think it's 23 points for a tech, 20 points for a pin, 18 for a major, right? So the projections, really, what we'll do is we'll pull up rankings, and if it's however far apart it is, we'll figure out how to do projections. Just so, I mean, I want this to be something that if you know close to nothing about wrestling, you can come in and you can make a team, and then you can watch an event and care about it. Because there are plenty of people that could get into wrestling, but the question is, why do I care?
There you go. All right, Joe, where can the people find you in Fantasy Fight League?
Yeah, fantasyfightleague.com. For everyone who's watching this, I set up a coupon code for you guys. You can use stalemate, one word,
Let's
for
go.
your first three.
Let's go. Hammer that.
So,
We'll put that in the description down below. I love that. How many did Ryan Warner kill it?
Yeah.
You did that for Ryan, right?
Yeah, man. I was knocking your door down because after I did the podcast with Ryan, I was trying to figure out where all the subscribers were coming from.
All right. Well, there you go.
We have
if we do lose, I'm gonna use the excuse that all of our subscribers already listened to Ryan's podcast and they signed up through him.
Yeah, no, shoot, you're gonna get way more. You get a free trial. You get way more.
Let's go. All right, Joe. I appreciate you for staying on. We're gonna wrap it up, but stay on really quick. All right.
Yep.
All right, stalemates. Thank you guys so much. It really means a lot that you guys are watching these episodes. It means a lot more now that we're starting to get views. Things are really they're looking up. I like where we're going. I like this weekly show that we're going with. Street League is coming up. So if you want to watch those this spring, summer-ish, we're playing with some concepts, some new stuff. It's going to be fun to watch. Subscribe to the Patreon, $3.99. This whole episode is what a Patreon version would look like. So we're not going to break this down for the Patreon people this week because we had Joe on, so you guys can thank Joe for that. And but subscribe to the Patreon, $3.99. Check out Fantasy Fight League. Also, if you want to have fun, that's something totally separate. And he's killing the game over there. Smart guy. He's one of the people that I call when I have something to run by. So go check them out. Barbarian Apparel, you know the vibes. 20% off these sweatshirts. Go check it out. Above and Beyond Wash and Seal is the best floor company in the business, and SPYDER Matte Tape, the official matte tape of Stalemate Street League. Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever you do, whatever you're into, all of that. 2022, is that how you say it? 2022? 2022 is coming up. We got our Stalemates coming up. We don't have a date yet because we're probably going to plan that all tonight.
Yeah.
Tyler, do you have anything you want to say before we go?
No, thanks for tuning in, guys. It's been fun doing this weekly, and yeah, maybe the Stalemates this week.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely this week. We're going to go live. I'm going to get my suit ready. But thank you guys for watching, and hit subscribe, drop a comment, like, all that. Thank you.